The lights are soft. The stage is set. The stillness in the air engulfs everyone in the room as Christopher Nolan mutters the famous word, action. Christopher Nolan is not usually referred to as the reviver of the Batman series and the genius behind Interstellar, but he indeed is. Christopher Nolan is a famous director, screenwriter, and producer. Today we will be focusing on the life of Christopher Nolan, as well as his accomplishments in the filmmaking industry. Christopher Nolan was born on July 30th, 1970 in London, England, according to biography.com. Then, in an article by Jason Buchanan from the New York Times, it states that he began filmmaking at the age of 7, and he used action figures as his actors. He also used his father's Super 8 camera, which shoots in 8mm film. After high school, he attended the University College London. Here he studied English literature and was able to borrow equipment for his hobby of filmmaking. After he learned more about filmmaking, an excellent tragedy happened. His London flat was burglarized. Now this was a very painful surprise. Just imagine coming home to a burglary. But it led to his inspiration for his first widely produced film, called Following. In an article published by Aaron McCarthy at mentalfloss.com, he stated his inspiration. What was keeping people out was the social protocols that we have to allow us to live together. I was interested in the certain types of people who would stop observing those protocols and why that would be. The 1998 film Following portrays an unemployed writer who becomes obsessed with learning about strangers. He starts following them around everywhere, and this eventually leads him to breaking into their actual houses to learn more about their lives. Nolan has released many movies since Following, but the most impressive is the revival of the Batman series. The 1997 film Batman and Robin idled the series with incredibly low sales and a comic book world. In 2005, Batman Begins was the first film of his trilogy by Christopher Nolan. Mark Hughes from Forbes magazine stated that it was the first successful film in the series. In an interview between Mark Hughes and Christopher Nolan, Nolan stated that we were setting out to try and tell a more realistic version of the story and of the origin story than had been done. And this is exactly what he did, because Batman Begins is set in a realistic world instead of a comic book world, and the character is an average human being who uses technology to fight evil. In an article titled Box Office History for Batman Movies from thenumbers.com, it stated that The Dark Knight, which is the second film in the trilogy, was the first superhero movie to gather $1 billion in sales. It is followed by The Dark Knight Rises, which also gathered $1 billion in box office sales. Christopher Nolan's latest film is Interstellar. From personal experience, I can tell you that it takes you on a journey through space and time. Through space, away from a dying Earth, too. I personally watched this almost 3-hour-long movie 2 times recently, and it juggles the concepts of space and time, which Christopher Nolan became interested in as a child. But I can tell you that you will not fully understand the movie the first time you watch it. It has a very baffling ending also. Nolan didn't want to make a one-hit wonder, though. He wanted to create a film that enticed you back in, that made you want to watch it over and over again to pick up on things that you missed the first time. And this is exactly what he did. Today, Christopher Nolan is happily married to Emma Thomas, and they have 3 sons and 1 daughter. The other films he has produced and directed is Memento, Insomnia, The Prestige, and Inception. His next film is not yet named, but the release date is July 21st, 2017. And I personally cannot wait to be in that theater, with the lights soft and the stage set, as the stillness in the air engulfs the whole audience, while I wait for what brilliance he has put together this time.